What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are Traditional Fans with Opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. Shabake, Episode 3. So in this one, Sasuke and Nikichi, um, they learned that so the carpenter who was murdered, basically his tools were stolen and that these tools were sold off and basically different areas so that likely to make it hard to track who stole them. And then basically so and like they're trying to figure out what's going on. So Sasuke and Nikichi, they find this being called the Byobu Nozuki, and they they fight it. And like yeah, so basically the new character called Mam Ogan comes in. So that's gonna be interesting. And then it's like some company brings a mummy in. Like very expensive. Like very expensive, like and the thing may not even be human. So what is it? I've not read source material, so I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like an alien or something. Who knows? So that's gonna be interesting, like what this mummy is, what are like what are the real motives of Nikichi and Sasuke, all the stuff, with Ichitaro. So yeah, I'm interested in all this and seeing how this mystery is gonna go. So yeah, I like this episode. Looking forward to the next one. Truth and Treason. So this is a biopic about Helmuth Gunther Gudat Hubener, who like basically like as a as a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, he came across his brother's illegally bought radio. Now, the movie portrays it as his brother showing it to him, but the real history, he found it. He just came across it and he listened to, like, you know, radio station, radio broadcasts from other countries, like the UK, basically some of Europe, Nazi Germany's enemies. And and basically Helmuth learned that, like, the propaganda that Hitler had been promoting was all lies. Like it was lies. So he basically became a resistance fighter, except he wasn't like doing full on like actual combat. He was like basically writing these leaflets with a typewriter and leaving them out across his city. And like he recruited his friends Karl Heinz Schnibb and Rudy Wob to help him out. Now those two are people he recruits in history and the movie. Now in history there was a fourth one named who was a coworker named Gerhard Duwer. Duwer. Um, far as what happens to Duwer, I don't know. I don't know if if he gets caught. But so now the main like Gestapo agent portraying this is a fictional character named Erwin Mussener. So maybe played by Rupert Evans. So I don't know if what the name of the actual Gestapo people who were arrested him, interrogated him. I don't know what their real names are. I don't know. I don't even know if their names are recorded anywhere. So Musliner's a fictional character. As far as this movie is mostly very historically correct, like accurate. Like obviously like his brother showing Hubener you know the radio. That didn't happen. Hubener found it himself. Musiner was a fictional character. As far as the girlfriend, um, there was reports that he did have a girlfriend. Now, when that happened, the timing of it, I mean, there's not a lot of details to my knowledge about it. So, like, they did, fill in some gaps to, like, for effect in the movie, like for plot reasons. Like, but it's a minor detail. It's not too relevant, really, as far as in Who in their story. But yeah, so, and like however much this girlfriend knew about, like, Helmut's activities, I can't say. Now, this movie puts a lot of emphasis on the fact that he is a member. He is two friends, and his other friend Solomon Swartz. So Solomon Swartz was basically, he was part Jew, and he was arrested by the Gestapo for, well, being part Jewish, and sent to a concentration camp where he died in Auschwitz. Yeah, and basically, and that's really what sets off, like, Helma's, like, crusade. And so, like, does all that basically. So he's turned in by one of his coworkers. Then Mussener, like, arrests him, and basically the Gestapo, like, torture him. Basically threaten, like, his girlfriend and like and his mother. You know that he that basically gonna go after them. Basically that, and like that, combined with Mussener, like, basically, like, pressing a knife on his fingernails to, like, cut him off. That motivated to give up Schnib and Wob. So those two get arrested. Now, Dewar in history, I don't know if he gets caught. He's kind of minor, so, like, I don't know enough about him to say whether or not how involved he is, like, in the actual, like, him getting arrested. I don't know. So basically, Hubener is pressured to, like give this written confession that was basically written for him, so that since he's a minor, Schnib, it was 18, so he would be called the ringleader since he's an adult, and would basically be seen as. But Hubener decides not to. He basically, which he was the mastermind, so he takes credit as the mastermind, shows that, like, hey, that he is the one who wrote the letters, that he's the one who came up with everything, and he basically says that, hey, Germany's going to lose this war, it's inevitable, and like Germany's gonna lose. And when he's sentenced to death, when Helmut is sentenced to death, the youngest person ever to be sentenced to death by the Nazi government, he says, it's time for me to die. I did nothing wrong. You know, it's my time. Your time will come. That's how he words it. Now, it's very abbreviated. We're into what his actual quote is in history. So his actual quote in history, it's now I must die, even though I have committed no crime. So now it's my turn, but your turn will come. Yeah. So, I mean, his mother and the Gestapo, his lawyers, asked for clemency because he was a minor, but in fact that he had confessed fully to everything. But yeah, no, it was denied. So October 27th, 1942, he is beheaded by a guillotine and executed, while his two friends, they're sent to prison. Now, Schnib is conscripted into the German military very late in the war, and is in a POW, and is in a Soviet POW camp for, like, for like a few years. And, like, yeah, so basically, yeah, so then, like, as far as the quality of the movie, I thought this was freaking incredible. This was a great. This is I would argue this might be the best Angel Studios movie that has been released so far. Like, this might be Angel Studios' best movie. Like, better than Sound of Freedom, better than Bonhoeffer, better than Homestead, better than Last Radio. Like this might Truth and Treason might be Angels. I would say argue at the point of recording this is Angel Studios' best movie. It is great. It is a great movie. Like Edwin Horrocks who plays Helmuth, like like I would argue he uh like he should be in consideration for best actor. He should. Like Edwin Horrocks who plays Helmuth, he should be the best actor consideration. He won't be because this is an Angel Studios movie. That's a fact. This is an Angel Studios movie. He won't be in consideration for it. Like if an Angel Studios movie gets Oscar nominations, like that would be insane. I don't think it's gonna happen. Like this does like like the acting was fantastic. And Rupert Evans, who played Mussener, he should be in consideration for Best Supporting Actor. And then the music, Aaron Zigman's score is, gosh, that was so good. Like that is a great score. Like that is one of the best scores in a movie this year. Like this should be nominated for Best Soundtrack or like Best Original Score. Like at least nominated. Like dude, like freaking incredible. And in an objective Oscars awards voting process, this movie would get nominated for all three of those awards, and probably would also get nominated for Best Picture. Do I think it will for anything? No, because it's Angel Studios. And one of the things that was major plot point is how Helmuth and his friends were part of the Mormon Church, the Church of Latter Day Saints. That is a historical fact. I did check that. Like they were very devout Mormons, and the whole deal about Jews not being banned from their Mormon church, that did happen. Now I think in history it happened it might have happened a little sooner than I think it might have happened before, like in the late 30s, I think. But yeah, yeah, so obviously, they were not happy about that. One, they were friends with a guy who's part Jewish. Two, love your neighbor as yourself. That is one of the commandments in the Bible. Now, I'm not going to get into the Mormon stuff that the Mormons believe. I'm not getting to that. Not going to get into that. They do read the Bible. There's debates on how exactly they are at following it. There are debates with that, but a lot of them they do read it, and that love your neighbor as yourself is one of the commandments. It is the second greatest commandment after love your God with all your heart, soul, mind, all your spirit. Love your neighbor yourself is the second greatest commandment. And so that's also part of reason behind Helmut's actions is that his care for his neighbors, he wanted all the people to know the truth, like the truth about Hitler. And yeah, so gosh, this was a great movie. So far, amongst American movies that have released this year, honestly, so far the best movie period of the year has been, in my opinion, Demon Slayer, Infinity Castle, Return of Akasa. Second best is this one, Truth and Treason. I did not expect Truth and Treason to be number two. I was not expecting that. And then Dale's like, frick, this is good. This is a great movie. Holy crap. Go watch this. I don't know how much it will do in box office and stuff, but if it is a small release compared to other Angel Studios movies, but it could do pretty well. I don't know what its budget is. It hasn't got as much notoriety as some other Angel Studios movies, but I thought this was a really good movie. And as far as really look, this was a story about more devout Mormons. Angel Studios is a Mormon-run studio, so it was probably inevitable that a movie about Helmut Huberner was going to get made. It was probably inevitable. Just a Mormon studio make a movie about a very famous Mormon. Like it was probably inevitable, but but regardless of that, whether or not it's about a Mormon, where I mean Bonhoeffer's about a Lutheran, and that was also a really good movie. Like regardless of the fact that it's about more, which in fact was what meant that okay, inevitably it was probably gonna happen, probably gonna get made at some point. And the directing by like the directing job by Matt Whitaker, like he should be in consideration for best director this year. It's a very well directed movie. Like there's so many Oscar awards at this in objective like award season. There's so many awards this would be in consideration for. It sadly won't be because of it's an Angel Studios, and that's sad. It's a good movie, a great movie, and it should be like treated as a movie, but it won't. But regardless of that, I will say, as just a regular audience member, I would say go watch this. This is fantastic. Like one of the best movies of the year. And that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.